Psalms chapter 68, verse 20. He that is our power is the power of salvation. And unto the Most High, the Lord, belong the issues from death. Shalom, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem Kakradash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well, peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawada from the Men of Valor Campaign, Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth, and Lord willing, it can be edifying. Not going to be a long video, but breaking news. I woke up to this, all right, and it really was unexpected, all right, but we in the time now where you should be expecting the unexpected, all right. One of Esau's very own, he back in the spirit world, man, all right. Senator Lindsey Graham, and he was actually local to South Carolina, but he was just in Ukraine, or was it Ukraine, or might have been in Turkey. But he was just he had just met with Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president. Okay, he's been known for his rhetoric toward war and crushing the Russians and crushing the Iranians. And me and the brother had a running joke, because he actually lives around here, or he lived around here, not anymore. Like if we was gonna run into him, we was gonna big him up, But the Lord took his ass out, man. All right, let's get into this. Senator Lindsey Graham dead at 71 following brief and sudden illness. All right, and that's why I started off with Psalm 68, because it's true, man. The issues of death belong to the Most High. Okay? These proud ass devils, even when they up in age, they think that they can prolong their lives. I remember that guy, David Rockefeller, had got like 6 heart transplants before he died at like 99. You had the Queen of England, she perished in her 90s. You got Mitch McConnell, his ass like, 80 something, 84, I believe. And they saying he's a vegetable, but they haven't announced that he's passed. But they have officially come out and said that this guy Lindsey Graham, he out of here. All right, so let's read this. Lindsey Graham, the Republican foreign policy hawk from South Carolina, died abruptly on Saturday following what his office described as a brief and sudden illness, according to a statement posted on X. Now, whether this is the absolute truth or not, we won't know. We won't know. The Most High knows, though. It says, on the evening of Saturday, July 11th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away from a brief and sudden illness. Senator Graham's family appreciates prayers at this time and asks for privacy during this incredible, difficult period, Graham office said. All right, but this guy, he was quite despicable, okay? He's an Edomite. He did what he was supposed to do. All right, he fulfilled what he was supposed to do, and the Lord called him back. Okay, he's not going to be able to see any type of fulfillment of, the rhetoric that he was pushing. Which, of course, he was pushing prophecy. He was pushing conflict with Iran, conflict with Russia. All right, and hey, we're here. So he was never going to put on. He was never going to go into any combat zones. He was never going to serve or anything like that, in these wars that he's advocating for. He was just a voice, an Edomite voice. The Russians got him too. You'll have the president that speak. Now, Trump, he already, speaks on a certain level when it comes to war and all that, but you have other nations where the president is a little more reserved, but you'll have these other guys that are pretty much speaking, exactly what the whole nation is on one accord about. Or when I say the delegation, the powers that be of any said nation. Lindsey Graham was one of those that advocated for war. All right. It says Graham has served in the Senate since 2003 and was seeking a fifth term. He was in Kyiv, and then, that's them holding on to that power, man. And he was in Kyiv on Friday before returning to Washington, where he was scheduled to appear on NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday morning. So, this devil, he was on the move. And the Lord took his ass out, man. All right, the Lord is showing you, okay, that just because you got plans, and these devils definitely got plans. They're, like brothers had mentioned, man. All right, the average Edomite male is an atheist. All right, it don't matter if they say they go to a Christian church, pay their 10% or whatever, okay? They don't believe in the Heavenly Father. And they definitely don't fear him. They think that their life will just go on and on and on, even up in age. They think they're going to continue to pass this torch of oppression on to the next generation. All right? Best believe Lindsey Graham never looked at Jake as equal. It says emergency personnel responded to his home in Washington on a reported cardiac arrest on Saturday evening, according to NBC News. President Trump commented early Saturday on Truth Social about the passing of the senator, calling him a true American patriot. All right, and if the world speaks well of him, if America speaks well of him, best believe he wasn't in any type of alignment. First of all, he was an Edomite, so he wasn't in any type of alignment with the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. He was part of the system that oppressed our people. All right. And like we just read, to the Most High belong the issues from death. Trump said Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the greatest people and senators I have ever known, is dead. He was always working and was a true American patriot. Lindsey will be greatly missed. So, as you can see, and I wish I had some of his rhetoric from Twitter, but you can look that up on your own. He's had a lot to say concerning foreign policy. All right, but he ain't wake up today, and that just shows you, man, the Lord is in full control, man. Just when you don't think something is happening, the Lord is moving. Hell, I was waiting on old Mitch. I've been waiting on Mitch McConnell to be pronounced dead, but he hasn't. It's a lucky. I'm just not getting up and shit. But let's get some more scriptures. All right, let's get what we normally bring up, man. Hey, this devil gonna be a slave. All right, he knows he an Edomite now. He back in the spirit where he knows he's an Edomite. He knows America is about to be destroyed. He knows that Israel is about to rule. Okay, and he doesn't need to be convinced. He's before the throne of the Heavenly Father. And he's gotten up there and he's realized the Heavenly Father isn't a Caucasian. Okay? And I'm sure he wish he could come back and tell Trump, like, oh shit, y'all are fucked. Nah, man, because the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is going to be done in the earth. Okay, regardless of how you feel about it. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 39. It says, see now that I, even I am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. All right. Trump couldn't deliver Lindsey Graham from the hand of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Okay. Trump can't deliver anybody Trump can't deliver anybody out of the Lord's hand. He's the president. He's supposed to be the leader of the free world. He's supposed to have all this power and authority. Guess what he doesn't have power and authority over? Life and death. He might think he does. All right, but it ultimately belongs to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. It says, for I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. We're talking about the sovereign of the existence. The Heavenly Father is. All right, these devils are here for but a moment. Let's grab that. This is Job chapter 20 and verse 4, right to the point. It says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth? It says, the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. All right, the joy of the hypocrite is Lindsey Graham was a hypocrite. And Trump's a damn hypocrite. He come out, this is one of the greatest men I've known. What the hell? And that show you these Edomites, man, they're really disassociated from the rest of society, man. All right, they might think themselves to be high and lofty, man. The populace doesn't agree. And they've been holding on to power so damn long, man. They think it just belongs to them. When the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, yes. But the Lord is about to take this damn devil down. Again, the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. And it might seem like, damn, these devils been ruling for a long time, but in the grand scheme of immortality, in the grand scheme of foreverness, Esau hasn't been ruling that long. And he's falling fast. Okay? Look at what's been going on ever since America has celebrated their 250th, man. And meanwhile you got the FIFA World Cup still going on. You got the Iranian conflict kicked back off with no peace deal and even in sight. Okay, Iran's not coming back to the table. You got the Russian-Ukraine war ramping up more, which Lindsey Graham had a lot to say about that too. Again, he just met with Vladimir Zelensky. There was something this devil said not too long ago, man. Lindsey Graham, man, he was popping big shit against Russia. So he did what he was supposed to do. He played his role, and now his role has been fulfilled, and the Lord called him suddenly. But these devils are still going to continue to be proud, because that's who they are. They're that red horse, and power was given unto them that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. All right, but the latter end of that is you're going to be a slave. Your lineage, your descendants. All right? Y'all all going to be slaves, man. Esau, the so-called white man, will be a slave in the kingdom. To be the lowest of the slaves. All right, they're going to go from riches to rags. All right, not just Lindsey Graham, because he was a lower level elite, doing the bidding of the tiny tots and shit. All right, but the actual elites, the ones that we might not know the names of directly, all right, they're going to get theirs, man. That's the patience and the faith of the saints. So when news like this comes out, just like, when other people, the Lord takes out other people, we bring it out. But this one was interesting. I'm sure brothers are going to do videos on it. All right. Things are moving. So not to drag this out long, just wanted to bring this out. The Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Wakar Kodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who we will. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till next time, Shalom.